that our time for medical session, scientific session was exact 9 o'clock. And right now it is 8:50 and we'll start it 10 minutes before. And it has happened only for such a lovely gathering, almost full house here, complete house. I request all of you to give a big round of applause for yourself always. It's wonderful. It shows that how the Motihari doctoral fraternity is so conscious about medical and scientific session. Thank you very much. Now I will straightway, I'm going to invite and introduce our galaxy of eminent dignitaries sitting over here. And to start with, first of all, I request Dr. Ashutosh Sharan sir, please come to the stage. I request Ramen to escort the stage. Dr. Ashutosh Sharan will be our chief guest for our program today. And I said I have to introduce a bit. और कहते हैं कि अब मोतिहारी में हमको डॉक्टर साहब को अगर इंट्रोड्यूस करना पड़ा है तो ये बड़ा टफ काम है. Probably the toughest of tonight's job. But it's customary that I have to introduce him. So I'm just giving a little bit of introduction of Dr. Ashutosh Sharan sir. He is a senior consultant surgeon having an MS degree. He belongs to a family of great personality. I have already elaborated in my initial speech. I will never forget Dr. Sambhu Sharan sir. He graduated in 1978 from DMCH Darbhanga, did his MS in the guidance of Padma Shri Dr. Narendra Prasad. He is married to Dr. Jasmeer Sharan, his batchmate, a renowned gynecologist. The third generation is also on the job, on the board, is none other than Dr. Nikhil Sharan, Dr. Nikita Sharan, and after that, Dr. Sharan will take charge of serving to the society. I feel that he started serving, not today, even 15 years back also. So big round of applause to Dr. Ashutosh Sharan sir. Today, our moderator for the program, let me tell, I know him from BHU when he was doing his DM. He is none other than Dr. Manish Kumar Bhaskar, very young and energetic, dynamic, upcoming talent for us. Manish Kumar Bhaskar, please come to this stage. He has done his MD and DM from BHU, and believe me, after doing his DM, he was posted in Allahabad gut clinic there. He started his practicing there. But love for this soil, because he belonged from this soil only, from Bihar only. He chosen to start his career from Bihar, and he joined the renowned BIC, the institute of none other than Padma Shri Dr. Vijay Prakash. He is one of the most senior consultant there. And he is doing all sort of procedure, starting from endoscopy, colonoscopy, ERCP, and US as well. Big talent for us. And he has done his MBBS in internal medicine, and currently he is associated with BIC. So big round of applause for this young dynamic Dr. Manish. Another living legend from Motihari, none other than Dr. Atul Kumar sir, please come to the stage. He is a senior consultant in cardiology. He has done his MBBS from DMC, Darbhanga in 1988. देख के आपको नहीं लगता है कि आप 1988 में आपने MBBS किया? He did MD in from AML and MC, not Allahabad, Prayagraj. And he is the president of BJP Chikitsa Manch, is Chankaran. So I feel 2019 will be very easy for you. So thank you very much. That is Atul Kumar sir. Please give a big round of applause to him. Our panelist for ortho is Dr. Prabhat Prakash. Please come to the stage, sir. He is a senior orthopedician at Motihari. He has done his MBBS from DMCH Darbhanga in 1999, and he's done his D-Ortho from PMCH in 2002. And He has done a training in orthopedic training in Bhattacharya Orthopedic Research Center. Very eminent research center, let me tell. I know it in Kolkata in 2006. He has also done an arthroscopy fellowship from Bore, Kolkata in 2007. And he had a special interest in arthroscopy, joint replacement and spine surgery. I request all of you to give a big round of applause for our panellist, Dr. Prakash. And of course, very important segment for today. I request Dr. Mudita Jaswal, ma'am, to be on the stage. Request Raman to please do a escort. She is a very senior gynecologist and obstetrician in practicing since 1997. She has done her MBBS from DMCH Darbhanga only in 1998 and DZO from DMCH Darbhanga in 1990. She had done her MS from Ranchi, from RIMS, and she has a special interest in her subject of obs and fertility. So big round of applause for Dr. Mudita Jaswal, ma'am. Last but not at all the list is Dr. Vivek Kumar. I request Dr. Vivek Kumar to be on the stage. Please, Avinash, escort officer to the stage. He is a senior allergist and runs his Dhanvantari Allergy and Asthma Clinic in Motihari. He has done his MBBS with gold medals from KMS Bangalore. He is also a recipient of Best Outgoing Student Award. Wonderful. He has done his diploma in allergy and asthma from CMC Vellore. And he is also an active member of the World Allergy Organization. He is also a member of the European Academy of Allergy and Clinical Immunology. And also, he is a member of Indian Academy of Allergy. He has presented his paper in a different journal, both national and international, and he has won the Best Paper Award in IAMICON in 2014 and Goa. And he has some research activity as well, currently underway, which includes finding aeroallergens in Bihar and creating normomogram on APD of Bihar. So I request all of you to give a big round of applause to Dr. Vivek Kumar, our panelist for today. Now, sir, the straightway for which we are here for our very comprehensive coverage on almost all therapy, and we are going for the medical session, the scientific session, and today our moderator will be Manish Kumar Bhaskar. But before that, I request our living legend of Dr. Ashutosh Sharan sir, please to come to the stage and say a few words. And for right time पे भाभी मियाँ आ गई. So exact जब आपको आना था उसी समय उनका एंट्री हुआ. So I will give a big round of applause for Dr. Ashutosh sir. Please come.
Good evening, colleagues from all parties who are working so hard day and night to provide a comprehensive health service which the great Modi sir dreamt during his heydays. I bow my head before Mr. Indravardhan Ambalal Modi who recent today, and I salute him. I have been with him in few conferences and I have seen his dynamism. He was such a dynamic person that at the age of 82, he started dancing on the dancing floor. Till the end, everybody got tired. And one of the co-dancers was my wife, Jaspreet sir. Even she could not match him. And in his speech there, he said what he meant. He said what he dreamt. And he talked of few drugs, which was his innovation. Calciferol was one of it. Then he talked of Polycat, Risorin and Raviloc IV. Most of the companies, they came with a Raviparazole injection but failed because it was not a agent which was stabilized in any chemist shop. It has to be preserved nicely. But his thinking was something different. Till date, I have never seen a wire getting discolored, and it's now more than 7 years, I think. So he had a vision in his mind. Vision that the patient should be treated not only therapeutically, not only emotionally, not only humanly, but with tender care, love and affection, and the complete comprehensive coverage he talked about. The one obstacle is the price of the medicine, which he could do. He brought down the price of the medicine, had his own research wing, had his own manufacturing plant, and therefore he could get it. Secondly, he always said that only allopathy or the modern medicine cannot cure all the diseases which we see today and which we have been in our life, which has changed a lot. The viral diseases is a bad or deadly menace now, which we never heard. And now we are talking of all the new viruses and we are fighting against it. So all the paths, Ayurveda, homeopath, naturopath, yoga, acupuncture, emotional treatment, and above all, the treatment with love and affection to the patients can lead you to win the heart of the society, which we are lacking today. Because the patients also think that if I go to the doctor, I'll be cured in one day. Secondly, they do Google medication. Everybody has got a phone, everybody knows to type Google, type medicine, type disease, and they do not care about differential diagnosis. They don't care about the side effects of the medicine, interaction of the many drugs, and they take polypathy also. They mix allopathy with homeopathy, they mix allopathy with Ayurveda. But look at our system. The system of medicine, Indian system of medicine, had all these. Right from Sushruta to Bhava Institute, where we get down radioiodine, radionuclides and all medicines used in cancer. So our country is a unique country, and if you make everything, the treatment module, the treatment schedule, the care, we will land up to what this man dreamt of. Providing healthcare, providing the best healthcare which has the best effect on the patients, and you can win the heart of the patients. That is what I request you all to do. Work unitedly, work fearlessly, use your acumen, The moment patient enters your chamber, start observing it. There may be patients coming with a different style of walking into your chamber. The mood you see, the disease you can know that this patient is fainting, and then few placebo you can give, and the patient gets cured, and he will always love you. He will always respect you. And I hope and I wish everybody gets a respect as this man wished for us. Thank you so much.
Believe me, you have covered all the things, even more than that, about our chairman, Sri Indra. Thank you very much, sir. I said that we'll start our program sharp on time. So our today moderator is Mr. Manish Kumar. I have already introduced him, and I'm going to hand over this session to him. But prior to that, I just wanted to share a few things. We wanted Dr. Vijay Prakash sir to be our moderator or speaker for gastro. And I asked him, he suggested the name of Dr. Manish Kumar. And he said that after doing his DM in gastro, when he joined his institute, and he said one word that it will be enough for me. He said that if I had to go for any procedure in gastro, say like ERCP or US, I will always prefer Manish to do that. So it was a big word from such a legend. So big round of applause to this young doctor, talent of pool from Bihar only, Dr. Manish Kumar, and he will be our moderator for today. Please do come, sir.
And thank you, Pawan, for such a lovely compliment. And thank you, Ashutosh sir. Just we have heard from your message when I was doing the residency, Dr. Ashutosh sir is board of Motihari. This time I got an opportunity to meet you, but I have heard your name earlier. I think most of the time earlier when I was doing the residency and during MBAs and during DMAs. So thank you, sir. Good evening, audience. I have to start this session, and I am very happy and pleased to have with you for a while. These medical advances need to be at the leading edge of discovery and innovations and cannot be held back. Doctors have traditionally been adaptable and have embraced positive developments. We are pleased to invite you to participate this year IAMICON in this city. Regarding this scientific session, there will be panel discussion with the topic learning from experts, chronic diseases, advances and challenges. The panelists of our, as we all know, they are experts in different departments like cardiology, diabetology, pulmonary medicine, orthopedics, gastroenterology and gynecology. Our discussion will focus on common chronic problems like diabetes, hypertension, COPD, asthma, GID and pregnancy-related common issues. This panel discussion will be like interactive session, and there will be audience questions at the end of this session. And probably this session will be of 1 hour. This will be a very brief session. So please switch off your mobile phone and be ready for further discussion. Your enthusiasm and active contribution to this important panel discussion will be greatly appreciated. Now, straightforward, we will go for our discussion session. From none other than legend of Motihari, Dr. Ashutosh Sharan, and sir will take our first question. My first question is related to gastroenterology. What are the common gastrointestinal complications observed in patients of diabetes, and what are the challenges?
In late cases of diabetes, whether the patient is a type 1 diabetic or type 2 diabetic, after 10 to 12 years, either they don't comply nicely, they don't do a good glycemic control of their blood sugar, they land with symptoms of upper and lower gastrointestinal tract disease. The most common is burping, flatulence, indigestion, delayed gastric emptying, vomiting, enteropathies, features of malabsorption, fecal incontinence, and the most important is gastroparesis. Diabetic gastroparesis is different from other gastric outlet obstruction, is that it's not a mechanical obstruction. There is nothing in the pylorus. If you do endoscopy, you will find that there are features of mucosal thickening, that is diabetic gastropathy. The pylorus is wide open. So what happens that the nerves which supply stomach, usually sympathetic and parasympathetic plus other nerves of the neighboring structure. You know the late complication of diabetes is neuropathy. So it's a neuropathy where the gastric emptying time is increased, or if you take a food which takes time to pass stomach, it leads to gastroparesis.
Sir has rightly described the scenario and the gastroparesis. I will add something. There are few other conditions like diabetic NAS. I want Sir will say something about diabetic NAS, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease leading to liver damage. Sir will add something to that NAS component of diabetes.
Yes, sir. Usually the diabetics are advised not to take alcohol, but it's a habit. So few patients have post-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and they suffer from this, and it increases the symptoms. So avoiding alcohol definitely improves the patient's condition when treated nicely with prokinetic drugs. Do well.
Thank you, sir. Sir has rightly said there is interplay between the sympathetic and parasympathetic activity as far as our gut is concerned and liver is concerned. What happens when patient is diabetic and he is having prolonged diabetes? As sir has described, there is mismatched interplay between sympathetic and parasympathetic circulation as far as our GI tract is concerned. From top to bottom, from esophagus till the end, what happens, there is, due to this mismatch between interplay, what happens, there is, as sir has said, there is gastroparesis, there is some motility disorder of esophagus. Sometimes this interplay is just reversed. This gastroparesis later on convert into enteropathy. What enteropathy do? It leads to diarrhea. So diabetic patient might have gastroparesis, might have constipation, might have diarrhea, might have incontinence, and another big issue nowadays is diabetic NAS, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. This, as sir has said, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis is leading to liver damage and ultimately patient land up in cirrhosis. And I will ask sir to Atul sir to add something on diabetic issue and relation of this diabetes to NAS. What we have to do? Is only diabetes control, sugar control is enough, or we have to do something?
Actually, diabetes is multifactorial disease, and there occurs many abnormalities in lipids, and these lipids abnormalities they do effect on our liver also. And there is some fatty deposition, and that is called NAS. It is grade 1 to 4. And if we control, as we know, that large number of patients have multifactorials, they have abnormalities in lipids. We have to control lipids abnormalities, and we should take tight control of diabetes, so can we prevent NAS and its complications further.
Thank you, sir. We move to next question from Asco sir. Sir, how different is management of diabetic gastroparesis compared to non-diabetic gastroparesis?
Non-diabetic gastroparesis is simple to treat because you know the causes: mechanical obstruction, maybe ulcer, maybe electrolyte imbalance, maybe you have a nephropathy, maybe you are taking some drugs which paralyzes your stomach muscles. Whereas in gastroparesis, diabetic gastroparesis, there are two things the stomach has to fight out. Number one, the pathophysiology of gastroparesis in diabetes. As rightly told by Manish ji about parasympathetic and sympathetic imbalance. That's very important. Number two, there is no obstruction. So you cannot remove the cause. And number three, most of the surgeries like cutting the stomach to a small size has not improved the outcome. Number four, the drugs, the medicines, most commonly used metformin or GLP-1. These are also, they increase the gastroparesis and they cause gastritis, and therefore the gastroparesis, which is caused by diabetes, has a different modality of treatment. The prokinetics, even the erythromycin, the newer prokinetics, of course, it started from Perinol, I think everybody knows, and then cisapride and everything. Now they are using a combination of erythromycin with cisapride, erythromycin with metoclopramide. They are even using electrical stimulation of the stomach muscles. They are endoscopically injecting botule vaccine, usually done by the plastic surgeons on the face. So just to tighten the pyloric circular muscle. So it's a very difficult situation, and you have to change the medicines you are using to the patients. You may have to, sometimes you have to change the type of insulin you are using, and you need to have a grip on the control of diabetes mellitus. And as rightly told by Atul ji, that it's not only the glycemic control you have to treat everything. Vasculopathies, lipid imbalance, electrolyte imbalance, you have to take care of kidneys, and so you have to be very cautious using other things also, other medicines also, especially the painkillers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as rightly described, I will focus on things like if you are treating diabetic gastroparesis, two things we have to take off. One thing is strict glycemic control, as said by sir. Second thing, your medication, which medication you are giving, and if medication is causing gastroparesis also. Because Dr. Atul sir, I will ask him to say something on medication, diabetic medication specifically, which is causing gastroparesis. Like we are using common medications, and few medications are causing gastroparesis. So,
Actually, it is imbalance, as you said, or Dr. Stosan said. Actually, it is imbalance between sympathetic and parasympathetic autonomic nervous system. Therefore, a good approach to anti-diabetics, it is said that insulin is always better when there occurs complication of diabetes, because insulin is exogenous, and other drugs, what they do, they extract maximum from the islet of pancreas. Therefore, whenever the complication starts once in diabetes, we should try our best to treat diabetes and its complication through insulin based, and drugs like anti-diarrheal drugs and etc. They probably somehow they can cause gastroparesis, but once you take out from the treatment prescription, it fades away. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We move to next panelist, who is none other than Dr. Kumar sir. My question is, sir, how different is hypertension of non-diabetic patients and patients with diabetes? What special care needs to be taken while treating such patients? What is your opinion about assay of lemizepine in patients of diabetes with hypertension?
Well, hypertension is a cardiovascular disease, and diabetes is endocrine disease. Both are diseases from other systems, but most of the time they invite each other to be together. But the treatment of hypertension in diabetes, it differs on the age, on the sex, on the ethnicity, and other comorbid situations. If actually hypertension is nothing but atherosclerotic progressions in our arteries, and diabetes, whenever it added, when it adds on hypertension, it's 1 and 1 is equal to 2, not 2. It is 11. What diabetes causes? It increases the progression of atherosclerosis and other complications, like already we have discussed that both are multifactorial diseases. In these diseases, there is abnormalities in lipid metabolism. Therefore, when they exist, the treatment modalities is nothing other, but all drugs can be used in diabetes, keeping the main thing on that it halts some progressions of diseases like patients are very prone to kidney diseases, retinal diseases, and cardiological diseases. Therefore, a very clear and tight control of blood pressure and blood sugar or glycemic control is required. Almost every group of antihypertensive can be given except beta blocker. Beta blocker as such causes lipid abnormalities, and therefore it is avoided. But when there is increase in heart rate or there is some cardiac MIs, it is seen that beta blocker benefits in overall cardiomorbidity, mortality. All groups of like calcium channel blocker, angiotensin receptor blocker, angiotensin ARBs and calcium channel blocker, diuretics, all are effective. But it is seen that they are more in favor of hypertension as well as diabetes. Therefore, one thing is very much required, that certain criteria is given by our societies, diabetic societies and hypertension societies, that blood pressure must be below 130 systolic and 90 systolic. And in treatment of diabetes, there should be first treatment lifestyle modifications like exercise and diet control. And then there starts, if there is no control of glycemic control is not good, then we can start anti-diabetic treatment. In anti-diabetic treatment, we should care overall, as I have said, that it is multifactorial. Therefore, you should also care of cardiovascular system like do ECG, and you take care of kidneys, you take care of retina or eye examination, fundus examination, etc. In the second part of question, you asked Benedipine. Benedipine is a new calcium channel blocker drug that comes in recent years, and it is found very beneficial in hypertensive as well as hypertensive patient with diabetes. Why? That it is calcium channel blocker, and it's a particular activity that it blocks each type of calcium channel blocker. Therefore, there is a good renal arterial dilatation. Therefore, it protects kidney. So, Benedipine is a good role in hypertension in diabetic cases.
Thank you, sir. Sir has focused on two basic things: medical nutrition therapy, or lifestyle modification and exercise, and second thing on Benedipine, that is cardio and renoprotective. And these are the good things about this drug. And I move to next question from Atul sir. Sir, does rosuvastatin causes is increased blood sugar level? If yes, what special care needs to be taken while prescribing patient of diabetes?
Well, as such, statins, especially rosuvastatins, is found to increase the blood sugar level, especially in new cases of hypertension. Their prolonged use, it is seen that it increases the blood sugar, and hence it increases number of diabetic patients. But studies shown that the rosuvastatin and other statins, they causes the overall cardiovascular mortality to lower down. It is studied that this marginal effect of increase in glycemic control that is not more significant. Rather, the cardiovascular mortality decrease is more. Therefore, its preventive action is accepted, and it is now recommended that rosuvastatin should be prescribed to prevent the lipid abnormalities.
Thank you, sir. You have elaborated the things in very brief. Now,
three things. One is to see with statins. A long-term study of statins in major groups have shown that those patients who are not diabetic, they become diabetic after taking statins for 10 years. Secondly, it has some beta blocker role also in the form of the patient sometimes the coronary arteries. Plus, you get muscle cramps, exhaustion, body aches with these drugs. So, if you have to use rosuvastatin, you have to give it in a right dose. If you are not having a CVA or acute coronary syndrome, the dose should be lesser. Secondly, very rightly, Atulji had said that in diabetics, if you are hypertensive, the control criteria or the desired blood pressure in those patients as per WHO guidelines is 110/70. You have to keep your blood pressure on the lower side, not that you have to keep it on the higher side, 130/90. And thirdly, if you have a comorbidity, the beta blockers are not contraindicated with anti-diabetic drugs also. Anti-diabetic drugs, what they do, they sometimes do hypoglycemia. And the natural mechanism or the physiology of body is that it takes care of its hypoglycemia by release of adrenaline, and the beta cells gets stimulated, and you have a own body mechanism, homeostasis, to do a gluconeogenesis or glycogenolysis. But if you have a so you will not come to know, or the symptoms will be slightly different of hypoglycemia than a patient who have a typical hypoglycemic symptoms. That is the one bad point of beta blockers being used in diabetes. But if you have a comorbid condition, say you have a CVA or a coronary artery disease, beta blockers is a must, because it controls the blood heart rate. And heart rate sometimes in time of crisis, when there is a excessive secretion of adrenaline or noradrenaline, your chances to get attacked that time only, isn't it?
Actually, there are so many drugs, anti-hypertensive drugs are available in our armamentarium. Therefore, beta blocker is not primary drug. No, if I were comorbid, if comorbid, that is, you rightly said that in case of MI, it is very beneficial drug, and it should be, it must be added, because cardiovascular mortality is decreased by the use of beta blocker. Second drug is in case of myocardial infarction. Best studied drug is angiotensin receptor blocker drug. If there is no any side effect, then angiotensin receptor blocker drug is the choice to introduce in the cases of MI, because it reduces the stunning or cardiac stunning or cardiac modulation that occurs in the course. But beta blocker is as such as first line drug, in my opinion, should not be started in diabetes. But there are so many newer drugs of beta blocker is coming, having some nitrous oxide properties like nebivolol. It is a wonderful drug and it can be used early, but older drugs like propranolol, atenolol, etc., it should not be used. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This discussion must go on. This is the charm of our profession and charm of this scientific session. Now I move to next dignitaries on dais, Dr. Prabha Prakash. My first question is, What are the complications of intra-articular corticosteroids for orthopedician as well as for other specialties? What is the maximum duration for which NSAID can be prescribed? If not NSAID, what other treatment options should be considered?
First question is your complication part of intra-articular corticosteroid injections. So there are most common complications for the orthopedic point of view are infections and cartilage damage, which is given intra-articularly. And there are few complications related to other specialties are the changes in color of the skins, wasting of the muscles, sometimes rupture of the tendons around which we give the corticosteroids. So these are the complications related to intra-articular corticosteroids. Sometimes diabetic patient which we prescribe corticosteroid leads to hyperglycemia sometimes. So these are the complications of intra-articular injections. Another question is,
what is the maximum duration for which NSAID can be prescribed?
so maximum duration of NSAIDs should be prescribed is the minimum duration. Suppose at least you have to prescribe for the least durations not more than 7 to 10 days for the NSAIDs because of their side effects. And you have to prescribe safest NSAIDs from the NSAIDs groups.
So one question I will add, which NSAID is safest?
So the safest NSAIDs from the patient to patient is high. So most of the time we prescribe the COX-2 inhibitors because NSAIDs the commonest side effect is gastrointestinal. So GI point of view the COX-2 inhibitors are the safest. But suppose the patient is suffering from the cardiac problems, so you have to select the COX-1 inhibitors.
Sir, because I am interviewing you, cardiologists say selective inhibitors are not the best, and we general physician says no, selective inhibitors are good for us.
Yeah. So point of view are different in different patients. If patient having the diabetes, patient having the cardiac problems, then you have to choose from the other groups. Having the respiratory problem, you have to not prescribe the NSAIDs, go for the opioids or the safer sites. Having the renal problem, you have to choose from the analgesic drugs, opioids groups. So these are the, suppose the patient, your last question is about the...
Not NSAID, what other treatment options should be considered?
Not NSAIDs. So not NSAIDs, then opioids. If a patient having the osteoarthritis, you have to prescribe the other medicines such as the glucosamine, sulfating sulfates, the corporium, rose hip extracts, and sometimes we also prescribe the local NSAIDs group drugs, tropical medicines for the local relief.
Thank you, sir. Conclusion of this answer is maximum duration of NSAID is minimum duration. So we have to keep it in mind. Maximum duration is minimum duration as far as NSAID is concerned. I move to next question from Dr. Prabhat Prakash. What are the steps in management of osteoporosis? Calcium with vitamin D3, is it prescribed with all other treatment options? Which is the best calcium salt as far as side effect is concerned? Which is preferred one, daily vitamin D3 or weekly or monthly or simultaneous administration? And the second part of question is which bisphosphonate is preferred? If oral bisphosphonate, what percentage of patients develop esophagitis? How do you address the problem of esophagitis?
Regarding the osteoporosis, the best thing is prevention is the better than cure. So you have to, if you are starting to treat the osteoporosis, you have to think about the prevention of the osteoporosis. So always advise your patient to do proper weight bearing exercise. Weight bearing exercise, mobilization exercise, morning walking, running. These are the exercises which provides the calcium deposit, increases the calcium deposition in the bone. If your patient is immobile or on bed, never prescribes calcium. That leads to mineral stones formation. Not goes in bones if your patient is not active. Second, you have to treat the cause of osteoporosis. Find out what is the cause of your patient osteoporosis. If it is primary osteoporosis or secondary osteoporosis, if your patient is taking some typical medicines which causes the bone weakness, such as your patient is on long duration of the corticosteroids, obviously you have to stop the corticosteroid or reduce the dosage of the corticosteroids. You have to think about your patient is on anticonvulsant drugs like phenytoin or carbamazepine. That should be take care of. That leads to the decrease in bone mass of the body. Thirdly, if your patient is suffering from hypothyroidism, that will take the thyroxine medicines that also weakens the bone. So these should be taken under the consideration regarding the treatment of the osteoporosis. And lastly, we have to come towards the medicinal parts of the osteoporosis treatment. Rightly said, calcium and vitamin D supplementation. It must be given in the patients together. And regarding the calcium salts, which one is the best? So we have to look over the bioavailability of the calcium. Which calcium salt is more bioavailable? That is going to more absorbed in the bone. Regarding this, the common use in the calcium carbonate and calcium citrate maleate. Both calcium carbonate is the cheaper salt, calcium citrate maleate is not cheaper than the calcium carbonate. But regarding the biometric, calcium citrate maleate is more better. Newest calcium orotate is coming in market. It is having the best bioavailability as claimed by the in the pharmacology book. But calcium orotate is not freely available in the market at present. So we have to prescribe calcium citrate maleate salt, that is the best bioavailable, and it is more patient friendly. So it should be taken even before food or in empty stomach, not always along the food. If you are prescribing your patient calcium carbonate, always prescribe with food calcium carbonate. And if you are prescribed calcium citrate maleate, it is patient friendly, it has more bioavailability, and it is more better for the bone. So try to prescribe calcium citrate maleate.
Thank you, sir. Next part of question is which bisphosphonates is preferred?
So regarding the bisphosphonate molecule, I prefer zoledronic acid, that is the once yearly given IV infusion. And for prescribing zoledronic acid, we must take care of the full hydration of the patients, regarding the renal safety of the patients, and always look for the renal clearance tests or creatinine, serum creatinine estimation before giving the infusion zoledronic acid. But for the sake of rural populations, alendronate once weekly dose can be prescribed, and it is most easily available in the market.
Thank you, sir. Next part of the question is what percentage of patients develop esophagitis and how do you address the problem of esophagitis?
So, the most common complication of this biphosphonates group, oral biphosphonates group is esophagitis, and we sometimes encountered almost 5 to 10% of the cases having the esophagitis complain of the esophageal pains, regurgitation, sometimes vomiting, and during prescribing the alendronate group or the oral biphosphonates, we have to advise our patient that you should take the medicines with full glass of water. Don't go on bed or sleep at least for half an hour after taking this oral bisphosphonates. And always prescribes the PPI along with this oral bisphosphonates.
Thank you, sir, for your great elaboration of the things. I move to next panelist, Dr. Motihari. My question is, what are the common metabolic complications observed in pregnant patients and what are the challenges? Does PCOS and diabetes, two sides of one coin? What special care such patients require?
Common metabolic complications during pregnancy are diabetes mellitus, gestational diabetes, hypertension and obesity. We obstetricians and gynecologists have double responsibility of fetus and mother as well. For the metabolic diseases like diabetes, there are so many complications in her pregnancy. That's first of all miscarriage, stillbirth, congenital malformation, hypoglycemia, hypocalcemia, etc. For this, we should rather closely monitor and investigate. Nowadays, we obstetricians have started doing OGT test on the first booking of the patient, whether she is in first trimester or second or third. Even she is not, she don't have a history, a family history of diabetes. We do it because India has become one of the largest diabetic country, one of the largest country who has so many cases of diabetes. For this we do OGT test even 10 days overdue. And if we find the OGT 140 milligram per day or more, we try to do it by control of diet or metformin if she has family history or if she has previous history of miscarriages. And so on we go because the hyperglycemia leads to so many types of congenital malformation like ASD, VSD, single umbilical artery and polycystic kidneys. And likewise PCOD and diabetes, they are very closely related because hyperinsulinemia is usually seen in PCOD, high insulin resistance, and in obesity also there is insulin resistance. And we have also seen the PCOD females who have become pregnant, they become diabetic, dyslipidemic, and dyslipidemic, endometrial hyperplasia and endometrial carcinoma in their latter age group.
Ma'am, what special care such patients require?
Pardon? PCOD or diabetes, what? PCOD patients are usually very obese. 75% cases are obese. 75% cases have hyperinsulinemia and 50% cases are obese. And first PCOD patients require weight reduction. We only do, if she reduces weight only 5 to 10%, their problem goes on. They start ovulating, menstruating, and they even conceive. So first, PCOD patient requires weight reduction by diet control and simple exercises, not by the vigorous exercises. Because after vigorous exercise, when they leave doing exercise, they will regain their weight. And second, we should rather investigate them on hormonal side, because all the PCOD patients suffer from infertility. 50% of infertility cases come from PCODs. Then hormonal assessment, blood sugar level should be done with fasting, 1 hour and 2 hour OGT, glucose tolerance test, which is better to do, and anti-Mullerian hormone and LH.
Thank you, ma'am. Great elaboration. Our gynecologists say do exercise. Cardiologists say do exercise. Our gastroenterologists say go for exercise. Endocrinologists say do exercise. But always a sorry state of affairs. We always listen, but we always not do what we have to do. So this is a great message. We move to next question from Dr. Mudita Jaiswal. It has been seen many times pregnant women have high blood pressure. So what is special care to be taken in managing pregnancy-induced hypertension, and what are challenges?
More than 10% cases of pregnancies are associated with hypertension. And we in remote area get more cases of hypertension. First of all, we have the responsibility to save the maternal condition like cerebrovascular accident and cardiovascular accident without compromising the fetus. We have to save both. For this, we have to first of all recognize what are the risk factors for the hypertensive cases. Risk factors are primary gravida, extremes of age, twin pregnancy, molar pregnancy, previous history of eclampsia, and when we diagnose these high-risk cases, we closely monitor them. We closely monitor them by frequent antenatal checkup and frequent BP checkup. Especially the BP must be taken in first trimester and after 28th week of the pregnancy. In first trimester, sometimes the BP is 90/60, and patient may have eclamptic attacks at 140/90. So in that case, we try to control at BP below 140/90, though it is recommended that the BP should be controlled between 140/90 to 150, in between 150/100. But in few cases in which the pre-pregnancy BP or first trimester pregnancy BP is 190/60, then we should be alert for that. Secondly, in hypertensive cases, after recognizing the high-risk cases, we closely monitor them by special lab investigation like LFT, RFT, complete blood count, because these high BP cases may go in HELP syndrome. They have variable lab technology, lab investigation deterioration like thrombocytopenia will go down, RFT will serum creatinine will go up, or liver function test will go down. In that case, we have to terminate the pregnancy. So we should decide whether the patient is severely preeclamptic or simple preeclampsia. If she is severe preeclampsia, then we should treat that case like eclampsia. And in that case, we have to terminate the pregnancy. In severe preeclampsia or eclampsia, we have to terminate the pregnancy irrespective of the duration of gestation. But in simple eclampsia, where we can control BP by salt restriction and or the drug like labetalol or methyl dopa, we continue that pregnancy up to 37 weeks and then terminate by induction. But in severe preeclampsia, we shouldn't wait till 37 weeks. We should terminate at 34 weeks, or if the condition deteriorates, like placental abruption and HELP syndrome, when the LFT is very bad or serum creatinine is very high, then we should terminate by that pregnancy irrespective of their disease.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful description on the topic. Now I move to next dignitaries, Dr. Vivek Kumar. My question is, what are the strategies and challenges to prevent development of asthma or COPD in diabetic patients?
Good evening, everyone. Actually, what I feel, that's a very tricky question, because till now we all have been hearing how to prevent development of diabetes in asthma and how to prevent development of diabetes in COPD, because all of us give steroids for asthma. So steroid causes hyperglycemia and resulting in diabetes. So but this is the other way around, preventing development of asthma and COPD in diabetes. So actually in 10% of diabetes in older age they develop COPD. So the relation is a little bit not very well proven. What happens, because of constant hyperglycemia, the glycosylation of epithelial membranes in lungs and airways happens. It happens because of one of the direct effects. Another is because of inflammatory mediators like interleukin 6 is there, interleukin 18 is there, then tumor necrosis factor alpha, then CRP is there. So they damage the membrane of respiratory epithelial cells and results in restrictive pattern more usually. But COPD and asthma are obstructive airway diseases. So the observational study is there to prove that diabetes leads in development of asthma and COPD, but still more research is needed to conclusively pinpoint the exact cause. So the challenges are how we can deal with it. First thing is identify the persons prone to develop asthma and COPD, like history of atopy, smoking history, environmental exposure, any obesity is there, sleep apnea is there, snoring is there. So if associated problems are there, you can pinpoint that person and do regular follow-up. Maintain HbA1c level around 6, because if HbA1c goes more than 7, then relation becomes more causative. Then do regular follow-up, regular spirometry yearly. Then you can go for antioxidants, because the causative relation between diabetes and COPD is because of antioxidants. So because of oxidants. So antioxidants like N-acetylcysteine, lycopene, and others are thought to be protective. What are the points you have?
Your full question was, what are the strategies and challenges to prevent development of asthma or COPD in diabetic patients?
Yes. So regular follow-up, maintaining HbA1c around 6, then yearly spirometry and regular follow-up.
It's a wonderful description of the question. Our chest physician also say go for exercise because you have to maintain your HbA1c around 6. Good, sir. My next
question to Vivek. To the diabetics or to the patients who have complicated diabetes and the persons who are prone to asthma, COPD, do you regularly prescribe flu vaccine?
Yes, sir. I missed that point. Vaccination.
If you vaccinate them.
Vaccination is a very important point. The 3 different kind of vaccines we regularly prescribe to all of our patients. They are bacterial lysates. They are in form of sublingual bacterial lysates. Then influenza vaccines and pneumococcal vaccines. So vaccinating them prevents airway infections. So resulting in less injury to the airway epithelium and less chances of development of COPD in the later stage.
Do you have a comparative study of the patients who have not been vaccinated and the patients whom you have vaccinated?
Those patients you have vaccinated and those patients you have not vaccinated. 2 groups. Because you deal with these patients and you deal it alone here. That's a very good thing you are doing to the society. So it's a very small compliment from my side. But at the same time, if you can give your thoughts about the flu vaccine to the audience, it will be a great help.
In proven asthmatics and COPD patients, the role of vaccines are well proven, no doubt in that. But for preventive measures like to prevent development of asthma and COPD in diabetics, role of vaccines are observational only. We need double-blind placebo-controlled randomized trials, which is lacking.
Thank you, sir. My next question from Dr. of Asthma, COPD, or any other lung disease on insects.
Insects are generally thought to be very safer because aspirin sensitivity is seen in about 0.3% of general population. But when you come to the group of asthma and COPD patients, this aspirin sensitivity goes up to 20%. Okay, so and this can happen generally within 3 hours, but it can be delayed up to 24 hours. So we can have different kind of complications like skin complications, like drug rashes and all, and then we can have respiratory complications. So in respiratory complications, increased breathlessness. Suppose my old COPD patient is having some arthritis, either gouty or rheumatoid. So he takes OTC drugs. He takes aceclofenac, diclofenac on his own or on prescription of our colleagues. So within 3 hours, if he develops, they can correlate it. Okay, I am having this increased breathlessness after taking this medication. But when it happens after 24 hours, patients and when doctors are not able to judge that or pinpoint that. But we always have to keep in mind that NSAIDs and aspirins do cause increased breathlessness in up to 20% of patients. So what I feel, paracetamol is the safest one. And if patients' pain is more, so you can add codeine. And theoretically, COX-2 inhibitors are supposed to be safer on side. But even COX-2, they are having cardiac problems. And then COX-2s are not totally safe. Even those taking COX-2 inhibitors, 1 in 13 can develop as this NSAID associated shortness of breath. So the pathway, all of us know, cyclooxygenase pathway inhibitor, then 69 leukotrienes, more in number, and then reduced prostaglandins, then resulting in more bronchoconstriction and less bronchoprotective effects. So one study shows that adding leukotrienes antagonist like montelukast will reduce the effect of NSAIDs. Then in some patients like cardiac patients or rheumatoid arthritis patients where you can't stop, you can go for desensitization. Aspirin desensitization is well proven and it can be tried. So here we start with a low dose and within 2 days we go up to 600 milligram, and then patient has to take the NSAIDs on daily basis without any single day failure. So patients do develop aspirin desensitization, but if they stop for even 1 day, it goes off. And
sir, other than aspirin, other NSAIDs, what is your opinion regarding other NSAIDs?
Paracetamol is the safest one.
Yeah.
Then go for paracetamol plus codeine. Then last choice, COX-2 inhibitors.
Okay. So your COPD patient is always at risk of cardiac problem. So what is your
regular follow-up?
Regular follow-up. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your great answer. Till now, it's wonderful session going on. I move to our next dignitaries. Dr. Ashutosh sir, my question goes to once again to Dr. Ashutosh sir. Sir, my question is, it has been seen many times, GERD patients have cardiac complications. So what are the common cardiac complications seen in patients with GERD and what special care these patients require?
With GERD, the cardiac patients, they are prone to go into failure. They are very prone to have, because of they are taking drugs, the ulcers, and they are very prone to bleed. So a patient with GERD and cardiac complications or have a coexisting cardiac disease, the GERD should be treated with utmost care and with full doses of PPI, antacids, and nitrates, etc. What they get.
Thank you, sir. Anything, Atul sir, you have to add to the things as a physician?
The posture of patients in GERD is very important. And number two, all these patients who have GERD have some respiratory problems also. Because of the emphysema, the esophagus gets straightened and there is some element of hiatus hernia as well. And the cardiac patients have stress and strain also. So there are chances of GERD being aggravated in severe cases.
Nothing more, but posters will be as advised by Dr. Stosan, and as a patient of heart diseases are more weak and more prone to liver, there is more chances of aspiration. It should be prevented at most, because once pneumonitis when develops, it may be fatal.
So they should not lie down immediately after taking meals. They should walk around for 15 minutes at least, take light meals, frequent meals, liquid diets, small meals that passes the pylorus easily. That's one important thing.
Thank you, sir, for great elaboration of the question. I directly move to next question from Dr. Ashutosh, sir. Sir, my question is, can NSAID be prescribed in patient with GERD? Can NSAID be prescribed in patient with GERD?
Not at all. Not at all. There are other drugs, painkillers, which are gut friendly. We prescribe those drugs to the patients.
Sir, if any situation from orthopedician side, if we have to go for NSAID, then what we have to do? Your opinion, sir?
From orthopedic side.
Sir, if it is needed.
It's needed. And then I prefer to add PPIs with the safer COX inhibitors or turnaround.
Thank you, sir. Sir has rightly said, if we have to go for NSAID, then always we have to add PPI. Thank you, sir. Till now, great session is going on. Now, this last question was the concluding question. Now, this audience is open. If you have any question, you can ask question to our dignitaries or desk.